Hey everyone. Hi Leo. Excuse me. I was just saging. I seem to do that a lot for you lately. Okay, anyone new to Opal Oracle, welcome. Anyone returning, hi. Hi Zumi. We just went for a walk in our new place. We found a little park. It's cute. Now, there's a need to play, okay? There's also a need for rest. Work and play, right? All work and no play makes Leo go crazy, right? Definitely. You see that fly by? What's that? All right, I made a new spread. I feel the need to tell everyone who was recorded before them. I feel like it has importance. Scorpio came before you, okay? That's actually the following fixed sign. So you go from fire to water, fire and water. Now you actually have Scorpio here in your soul section, which is pretty wild to have death in your soul. It's not a literal death, obviously. This is, if you're having the Scorpio card in your soul section, this is a big deal. This shows that you have the ability right now to reach a new plateau and to close out certain cycles so that your physical world can actually change. Because in some way or another, it's really important for you to, like, your mind in a way is like, I want everything. I want all the money, I want the husband, I want the wife, I want the car, the dogs, I want the pretty dishes, I want all these things, right? Physically speaking. I want the stability of what it is to have multiple incomes. I want to have the nice home, whatever. But this is just what your mind is saying. What you actually want is this. Is your independence, is you doing whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it and not having to rely on anyone. It's a little bit of a contrast. Now what's in between there is one. Well, the One of Pentacles or the Ace of Pentacles is a very, well, I heard fortuitous, but it's a card that expresses a new start within the physical world that actually has a lot of probability of longevity, right? In your heart section, you have the Hierophant. So you have two major arcana on the board right now, the Hierophant and Scorpio. This is actually the opposite signs, and this happened with someone else also, which I'm sensing it for the collective as in general, okay? Because Uranus and Taurus, the opposite is Scorpio. This is affecting everyone, okay, in a really big way. Now, we can accept that. We can accept that healing, that change, right? Or we can resist it. Now, this is actually in what you need, which I find interesting. I mean, the first thing I heard was rest, and right underneath on the bottom of the deck is this, okay? There's definitely a need to rest your mind. This 10 being in your mind is like worrying about all these things like in the physical world, but your soul's like, dude, you're going on, dudette, you're going on this enormous soul journey. It has nothing to do with the physical, it has nothing to do with the tangible material world whatsoever. It's spiritual, it's metaphysical, it's other dimensional. Okay, this is only one dense dimension, this three-dimensional world. And it's interesting because that's kind of what Taurus is. Taurus is like all up in this, right? Which is fine. This is where we receive our stability, right? What's their first decan of it. So it's like, all right, what's important? How do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel about how we receive our resources? How excited are we about the prospect of taking something away to have something, having less to have more? How do we feel about that? I also sense that You know, because this in a way is kind of a marriage card as well, because obviously it's the family and children, etc. But with what you want is this, it's really, there's a big question about how do you deal when how does your independence play into a group dynamic, particularly within the family, whether that would be a blood related, and also like your soul family. How does that play into that? Okay. I see that during this time you may be a little bit tired. Oh, 6 o'clock. It's Gemini season. Sixes are balanced. Sixes are see, by the end of, until around the end of June, at very least, when Cancer season comes around, this will make a difference to the amount of energy that you have, because the advice is in the future, which advice future is you getting up out of bed, right? Even if this is just, whether it's physically or if it's just mentally kind of drained, right? Doing a lot of thinking about what it is that you're going through, what it is that Scorpio is teaching you, which seems to be for everyone. I don't know what's going on astrologically in totality, but I would say that everyone's sort of receiving the message that Scorpio is a wonderful teacher, okay? They do a lot of the undercover work that other people aren't willing to do. Now, if people are open to that, to accepting that information, you can just say, oh my God, thank you so much, Scorpio. I really appreciate it. This also is wherever you have whatever's in your 8th house, or wherever Pluto is also helpful to this process. It could also be why you're part of it, why you're tired, okay? But that's okay. It's like they're, again, to die, then we live, right? We become reborn. There's we build a structure, a new structure in our heart. There's obviously some sort of consideration to, well, I heard your makeup, particularly within the family dynamic. Like, what does that mean? How did your see, I know in a way that a lot of Leos don't really like talking about the existential in a sense. Not that you don't mind it once in a while, but you like to keep it really lighthearted. Like, you'll dive a little bit in the water, but then you want to come back to the surface and be like, where's the sun? And I get that. But the thing is you'll be able to hold your breath better, like a pearl diver, the more that you go into that. Like, being okay with that. Being okay with being away from the sun a little bit longer than what you naturally would be, right? This is all yellow. This is what you want. Sun, 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 all day. Doing what you want, whatever I want. But the thing is like, your mind knows that you can't just do whatever you want if you want this. Because there's other people involved here. There's other external situations involved here that have a lot to do with your 2nd and your 8th house. Okay? I mean, I guess some of you have there's a thing where it's reverse chart. I guess, I don't know how that works out. I could ask my friend, but they're not here now, so I guess I'll have to either just let it go for now, And know that I'll figure it out. Know that the question will be answered even if I don't necessarily physically ask it. You okay, baby? Yeah. Oh my God, you're so sweet. It's kind of like when you walk into a movie and you want to know what's going on, like a Big Lebowski. But instead of being a child and being immature and like wanting to know all the answers right now, you just sit down and you're patient. And then what happens? Whatever it is that you want to know, even the question, again, that you did not ask verbally, externally, well, it's obviously asked anyway. Okay? And then we receive the answer. Right? Pretty solid answer to whatever the answer is. Now I see that if you don't take the time to rest, in the near future, it's like you're basically figuring out right now, well, what's love got to do with it? Something like that. And what does Tina say? What's love but a second-hand emotion? Like a second-hand store, right? Like somebody already had the love that you desire, right? Particularly within another person. Because if we think about that, like I remember when I had the epiphany, I was real sad about an ex. And I was just thinking about it, and I was getting to the point of kind of getting over it. And then I was like, man, how many times have I been married, right? I've never been married in this life. But like, how many times have I been married in my past lives? How many ex-husbands have I had? Ex-wives, whatever. I'm sure I was a dude. You can tell I was a dude. I just needed to know how to do concrete in this life, I guess, and chop down trees and fucking whatever else. So the point is that I guess in a way Tina's right. Love is a second-hand emotion. Everything is sort of second-hand. Nothing is actually yours, ever, nor will it always be yours, nor has it always been yours. So it's kind of like when you receive it, well, then you have to appreciate it, right? And not take it as something secondhand, but take it as, understand that it's secondhand, understand where it came from, and again, that it's not yours, it never has been yours, and never will be yours, technically, because proprietorship is a joke, okay? It's what makes war. But just understanding that, like, your turn in it, the turn that you're taking within this situation, well, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to treat it like it's yours? Are you going to treat it like it's one of a kind? Are you going to treat it like this is the only thing? Or are you going to bring it back down to reality and be like, this is just another component in the situation? Now, I'm not saying to diminish you're ruled by the heart, like the love that you have or the love that you want to share or the energy that you want to put forth and what it is that you're building in this life. I, by no means, am suggesting to diminish love. Unconditional love is everything, but unconditional love has no proprietorship attached to it. We cannot. If I try to say that Azumi is my dog, it's my dog, well, why would I say that? Because I'm afraid to lose her. I'm afraid somebody else might take her if I didn't claim it as my own. Right? Is that what I'm saying? This house is mine. This is my apartment. Which, by the way, I moved in. Do you want to see what it looks like? It's kind of cool. I didn't set up anything yet. So it's just like all my art stuff. I'm pretty excited, actually. You know, that's kind of the thing, Leo. Like, hold on. Oh, there we go. You know, I don't have a couch yet. I have a sewing table. I have 2 chairs. I have a place to sleep. you know, there's something about this, like, making what you have your own, but not trying to be like, this is mine. Because that's kind of like, I feel like when people hang on too tightly to things is when they become kind of sad when they leave their life. Right? Now, I'm not saying that separation is easy, because it's not. You know, it all depends on how we perceive it, though. It all depends on what the level of understanding of secular nature is. Okay? And I heard proprietorship again. That's a big word for you. I was actually thinking of doing something. I'm totally going to snitch myself out. So sometimes, yeah. I was actually going to consider, because not that I'm trying to, I want Leo to have more views on my channel or whatever, but I do desire people to, it's interesting, what I'm saying is how people are drawn into things, right? Like, psychologically speaking, like, a lot of tarot will put things in their description to pull people in, right? Be like, ooh, what are they talking about? Is it about my twin flame? Is it about my soulmate? So for yours, I was going to put, like, you know, or something with drama too. I don't even know what I was going to put. It just was a flash in the pan, you know, of kind of like, I wonder if I changed the title of it, if it would bring more energy into the situation. But I feel like that's trickery, right? It's kind of like reeling you in. And that's not fair. And I'm all about fairness. But I do know that the Leos that are here on this journey, which I hope that people start to realize that, well, that you are safe, you are loved, you are protected, you are stable, okay? You're not just fixed fire, you're also earth, you're also water, right? And I know you've been through the shit. I know you have, right? Whether you're Leo Ascendant, Leo Venus, doesn't matter. Actually, I would even say, I'll take that back. I bet that most Leo placements are actually reasonable, because you're such a positive sign. And that's part of why you don't want to, like, dive into the depths, because maybe you were a Scorpio last time. Okay? Or maybe but the thing is maybe you're about to be a Scorpio next time, and are you ready? Because if your soul's journey is to become a Scorpio next time, and you don't figure out how to deal with this sort of shit, when you become a Scorpio, you'll, like, kill yourself. It would be awful. Now, I know that sounds brash, but I'm just saying that, like, it's a heavy sign. How do you deal with heavier emotions, Leo? This is the question. Whether they're positive or negative, because you don't have any cups here. You have existential sort of crisis that you're ignoring, in a sense, and you're trying to make money. I see that, like, you're trying to stabilize yourself, but the thing is your higher self is like, what are you talking about? What do you mean money? What do you mean money? This just came out. What do you mean? What do you mean this? Your savings? It's like, how are we looking at the wider scope of reality? Okay. Out of 8, you have 4 major arcana. Okay. And I know that it's a lot to go back and to assess these, because you just want to move forward, right? You just want to move right into, you want to move from this to this, quick as pie, right? Not even a saying. But the thing is cycles only end when we are able to look back at them and not be angered or upset or whatever. Okay? I see that there's a need for you to temper when you're working together with other people, you have to remember to understand, well, that a lot of your behavioral characteristics come from your family, okay? I know it sounds simple, but it's true, okay? And it makes up how you are, whether you are how you become emotionally satisfied. What emotionally satisfies you is determined by what you were shown growing up. Now, I see that there is a lot of consideration in your mind at this moment to those kinds of situations, to what is enough, to the mother, to your upbringing, really. And it could just be for everyone. It seems to be there's like collective messages, which I like. It means that we're all learning from one another. And during this time, I see that Scorpio has a big help. It's a big help to understand, well, what growth is, what happiness is, what struggle is, okay? What did I say? Well, there was a reading called Why is a Good Question, right? I would say to go back and maybe watch that one. I think it was in November. Because we all have struggles, okay? These are like day-to-day struggles. How do we deal with them? I like that I don't see so much drinking like I usually do. Not to say all of you do, but for those of you who do, I'm glad that you're not. Or you stopped watching and you're not watching now because you didn't like that I called you out. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying that, like, this is what the cards say, and it's not for your highest good. Okay? You cannot manifest what it is that you want if you're not taking care of your mind, your body, and your soul. Okay? All three of them are very important. I see something last December. It was like September to December, something happened that was in some ways miraculous, where you were like, wow, is this really happening? What's going on here? This is pretty awesome. Now it's June. And you're like, all right, well, where's it going now? I've been feeling pretty good about it, but what do I do now? Let's see. They're all looking into the future. And what are they looking at? A conversation with yourself. A conversation with other people. Because I also know that because you're so sunshine, you're so sunshine, right? You draw people in that are difficult. And the thing is you're actually not trying to fix them like other signs would. Depends where you have it. Particularly sun signs. I don't know many Leo moons, but I do know fire moons can be challenging, but that's not the point. The point is that the mind is the kind of the issue. Okay, and it needs to be assessed. It needs to be assessed. I see again that you need rest, okay? And when you're not resting, I want you to continue this is manifestation time. You know, sometimes resting is wonderful. Sometimes you'll have a beautiful dream that'll help you understand something so that you can be like, all right, this is how I want to move forward. I am clear in my mind about what is successful to me. Okay, what it is that I'm trying to achieve, and I know that I'm ready to talk about whatever that is so that I can get what I want, correct my energy, right? Start putting it forward so that I can I heard push this out of the way, but it's more about like somebody throwing these at him so that he finally picks his head up and being like, why is your head down anyway? Let's see. Because I heard other people's sadness isn't your problem, but it's not about you being, other people's sadness isn't your problem, but I know you get annoyed sometimes when people have their head down too much, but that's because you don't, it's a mirror of what you, it's a mirror to show you so that you don't keep those walls up that you received from your family, so that you don't, your upbringing, okay? So you can crush that, you can deplete that, you can take that Scorpio and be like, yes, I'm so ready to change that part of me. I am so ready to have something more enlightening and fulfilling. I also see with the 10, the 9, and the 6 here, yes, you should rest, but I do see your finances fine, okay, during this time. I don't want you to worry about anything, but I don't want you to ignore anything either. Does that make sense? There's a new love coming in. That's what people put a lot. It's funny. And the cool thing is those readings, I'm not trying to cast judgment. It's like, if people perceive those readings as, oh, well, it would be a new love of self. Cool. But people seek outside of themselves so much, right? They seek outside of themselves so much. And that slows the growth process. Okay? I know it's been a little frustrating since April, since late March, right? There's been a lot of ups and downs. Then I see in May it got a little bit better, but then there was still a little bit of trouble, right? Maybe there's some friends that you were like, man, I wish that wouldn't have happened that way, but it's the way that it's just the way that it needs to go, and there's a need for you to consider what happened with those things that you called your own that are no longer your own, or or again, proprietorship. What I feel like you must have learned something about that. And for those of you that it's relevant, it's like relative, it's you really want to just consider, like, what does that mean to you? What does ownership mean to you? Wow. Because nothing is ours. We don't control fate. We have free will each and every day, but we don't control the wheel in the sky. We don't control the other people. It goes back to, like, how much do you connect to God? And how much does that make you feel successful, whatever God that is? Okay? What is spirituality to you? And how does that make up the foundation of yourself? And where are those parts of you in ways of God that are complicated and make your relationships a little challenging? Okay? And where does that come from? And how can we be more creative in the process? I'd like to emphasize there are no wrong gods. Okay? None. Whatever works for you. But it has a lot to do with integrity. Okay? Has a lot to do with the amount of energy and effort you put in. And I know you've been through a lot in your life. Everybody has, but I know you have specifically. It keeps showing me. So Give yourself credit for that. Be happy for that. Okay? Know that you make your world. There's your card. Whatever it is that you want. You make the structure of you. You determine what success is. Each and every person determines success. Wow. 2 Scorpio cards next to one another. And the King and the Queen. Wow. We're getting in another story. All right, I love you so much. Happy mid-June. See you in July. Peace out.